If you have a single member LLC and you're looking for a business line of credit with EIN only, no personal guarantee, you got to be very careful about the lender you choose, right? So in today's conversation, I want to compare and contrast four players that actually provide single member LLC business line of credit. So we're going to compare and contrast Bluevine, Wells Fargo, OnDeck, and Lendio. So here is a review that you are expecting. Let me first start with Bluevine. So when you think about Bluevine, I want you to think about a lender that will take care of your single member LLC business line of credit, but they are very flexible when it comes to lines of credit. In other words, they'll take care of you in terms of the amount that you're looking for, and whether you're looking for 100,000, 50 grand, or $250,000. So their their line amount go from 6,000 to $250,000. Okay, and they want you to be in business for 6 months. So if you're a single member LLC, you have to be in business for 6 months, and you can actually apply using EIN only or without EIN. If you want to apply using EIN only, you need to have a business plan and financial statements in addition to the other requirements. If you don't want to use EIN only, then you have to have a minimum credit score that goes from 550 to 600. Okay, so overall, we just love Bluevine because they're not really a traditional lender, right? They actually have partnered with other banks, but what they do is they actually use artificial intelligence to look at a constellation of factors before approving you. So they just don't look at the one criterion like your credit score or your revenue. No, they look at a constellation of criteria to make sure that you are the right borrower for them. So here are the pros and cons when it comes to Bluevine as a single member LLC business line of credit lender with EIN only, no personal guarantee. Pros: you have to be in operation for 6 months to be eligible. Their line of credit all the way to $250,000, and they have a low credit score requirement if you want to go the non-EIN only route. What are the cons? Well, they have no mobile app for now for their line of credit. They have a monthly revenue requirement, and they're not available in South Dakota, Puerto Rico, and U.S. territories. So if you are in North and South Dakota or Puerto Rico or U.S. territories and you are a single member LLC, you will not qualify. So here are a few extra details. The thing is that if you are startups, you must meet the following criteria to be eligible for Bluevine's Flex 6 payment structure. You gotta have you get no bankruptcies within 1 year. Your business must be a corporation or LLC. This is really good. Okay, and you gotta have a business plan. Sorry about that, a business plan, and also financial projections. Very important. And Bluevine is really good at having a fast turnaround. Let me now talk to you about Wells Fargo as a provider of single member LLC business line of credit, EIN only, no personal guarantee. By the way, before I actually continue, please welcome back to the show. It's really a pleasure to welcome you here. And so when we talk about Wells Fargo, if you are a single member LLC, you're looking for a business line of credit, you gotta have a relationship with Wells Fargo. I know sometimes we get in comments, people say, well, you say the same thing all the time. Yes, you gotta have a relationship with Wells Fargo or Chase or Citi or all those biggies. If you are a single member LLC, you gotta have a relationship. So Wells Fargo, in our view, is great for a traditional lender when it comes to providing you with a single member LLC business line of credit. And yes, you can apply using EIN only. If you know how to apply, you can definitely apply. Okay, your line amounts rather, go from $5,000 to $100,000. They are less generous than Bluevine. Okay, time in business, they want you to be in business for 1 or 2 years. Okay, and this is really important. Now, we picked Wells Fargo because they are a financial colossus nationally. They are everywhere, which means that your chances of getting approved are higher no matter where your single member LLC business operates. Okay, and the cool thing is that Wells Fargo actually will assign an advisor to you who will help you actually get the line of credit approved. Don't forget, there's actually there's an annual fee that comes with the Wells Fargo line of credit, and it fluctuates from from $95 to $175, but it is totally worth it. So here are the pros and cons here. Pros: no collateral required, low interest rates available, rewards available also. And here are the cons in our view. There is an annual fee after the first year, and they require at least 1 to 2 years in business. And in terms of extra details that come with this single member LLC business line of credit from Wells Fargo, to be eligible, you got to have a relationship with Wells Fargo. Don't forget the business plan I just told you. This is also important. You got to have also your financial statements. They are okay if you don't have projections. Wells Fargo is okay to take actual data, not projections. Okay, and Wells Fargo is really is a little slow when it comes to. I mean, they're a bank. When it comes to turnaround, it can go all the way to 10 days. They'll go for 3 days to 10 days. So it is what it is. You just have to know how to play the game. Let me now talk to you about OnDeck. By the way, I want to quickly remind you of today we are actually talking about single member LLC, business line of credit, EIN only, no personal guarantee, and we are comparing and contrasting 4 players. We have Bluevine, Wells Fargo, OnDeck, and Lendio. I just finished talking about Bluevine and Wells Fargo. I want to talk now about OnDeck. So OnDeck is a great player. We love OnDeck. And if you have less than optimal credit score, OnDeck will love you. Obviously, if you are applying for a business line of credit using EIN only, your personal credit score doesn't matter. But again, if you were to apply without EIN only, then your credit score will matter, and then they will actually approve you, even if you have a credit score that goes all the way to 575 to 625. Okay, they have this bandwidth where they allow you to actually be approved. And line amounts go from $6,000 to $100,000, and time in business 6 months to 1 year. Okay, and what we love about OnDeck is that they've been around for the last 15 years, and they've been kicking ass like crazy. Okay, if you're a single member LLC, if you're a multi-member LLC, if you're an S corp, if you're a C corp, they'll take care of you. Here are the pros and cons of this player here. OnDeck. Pros: you have lines of credit up to $100,000, same day funding, low minimum credit score requirements. Here are the cons I want you to really pay attention to. Now, they want you to have a $100,000 minimum annual revenue requirements. You must have been operating for at least 6 months to 1 year. And they do not lend to businesses in Nevada, North, and South Dakota. So you have 3 states where they're not present. So if you happen to be a single member LLC operating in those 3 states, you will not qualify. And so overall, extra details that you need to know about. OnDeck is very fast. Also, they might actually approve you the same day if you're lucky. Yeah, we have seen actually people being approved the same day. Not a problem at all for OnDeck. And the thing is that they want you to connect your business bank account to their system. This is an idiosyncrasy, a particularity for OnDeck, that they want you actually verify your cash inflows from the source, not you actually telling them about your cash. They don't want to see your bank statements. They want you to connect your bank account to their system so they can check things in real time. It is what it is. I want to talk to you now about Lendio. So Lendio, in our view, it's actually one of the best players when it comes to lender comparison sites. So Lendio is not really a direct lender. So Bluevine is a direct lender for your single member LLC. Wells Fargo is a direct lender. OnDeck is a direct lender. Lendio is not. Lendio is a loan marketplace. On Lendio, you have line amounts that go from $1,000 to $500,000, and they want your single member LLC to be in business for at least 6 months. And Lendio will take a credit score that goes all the way to 550, sometimes 560. The cool thing about Lendio is that because you are a single member LLC, you're actually like the reward for many players, for many lenders. So they will vie for your business. They will actually compete for your business. Okay, they have about 75 to 85 lenders on in their network, and all you have to do is you just have to fill out a form, and Lendio will dispatch your application to all those lenders in their networks. And lenders who are interested in your profile, they will contact you, and they will take it from there. Okay, so here are the pros and cons here. Pros: you have one application that connects you to more than 75 to 85 lenders. You have a wide constellation of loan products beyond lines of credit. Here are the cons here. Well, some lenders charge prepayment penalties. Funding times may vary depending on the specific lender, and they don't publish specific terms. So you have to really be aware of that. Okay. And so here are the extra details I really want you to really pay attention to. Well, the thing is, in terms of eligibility, it can go from 560 to 680, depending on the lender, of course, okay? And in terms of funding, well, it can take, let's say, 24 to 48 hours. Lendio, the application itself takes about 15 minutes. Why? Because you have one single application, right? They get dispatched to 75 to 85 lenders. So you don't have to actually fill out 75 to 85 different application forms. But you have to wait for the lender to express interest. And then once they express interest, then you can actually take it from there. It's a really, you can think it's tedious, but it's not really that tedious. Okay, it's all about making sure that you have the right lender for your specific business. This is really important. Now, let me give you a few approach before I reveal our winner in today's conversation. Let me give you a few approach here. By the way, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We're speaking about single member LLC business line of credit, EIN only, no personal guarantee. And we're doing a compare and contrast between four players: Bluevine, Wells Fargo, On Deck, and Lendio. Okay, very important. Now, when you have to compare business lines of credit, you got to have some parameters. You got to have some parameters. You got to have some criteria upon which you can build a strong and informed decision. Otherwise, you'll just be making mistakes and over mistakes. Okay, and so you want to think about one thing. Wherever possible, I want you to pre-qualify. Don't you actually try to decimate your FICO score. Normally, if you apply using EIN only, you actually can bypass the whole pre-qualification, the whole decimation to your credit, to your personal credit score. But if you don't want to do it, if you want to go the Social Security route, make sure that you pre-qualify. Okay, you are trying to protect your FICO score. Very important. You need to consider the repayment terms and flexibility, because Bluevine has a different term, has a different set of criteria from Wells Fargo, On Deck, and Lendio. They always have, they're playing on different turfs, right? So they all come in the market with their own conditions and requirements. It's up to you to study those to make sure that they are flexible enough to actually suit your single member LLC. It's not about just suiting, like, I'm not talking about being suitable, like being suitable in general. It has to be suitable to your liquidity, to your cash inflows and cash outflows, because you're going to need cash to actually pay back the line of credit. So think about that. And you also want to look out for additional fees, right? Are they charging you like do they have hidden fees? Are they trying to play games with you, like by charging you extra, whatever? Some lenders are really, really sneaky. So you got to be really careful about that. So in terms of fees, we're speaking about origination fees, penalty fee, like prepayment penalties, for example. Some of them will charge you an annual fee. Okay, so you want to look for additional fees. They're very important. And also you want to evaluate the lender's customer support options. So is Bluevine customer support excellent? Is Wells Fargo's stellar? Is On Deck's customer support astounding? Is Lendio's impeccable? You got to really think about that. And you just have to watch shows like ours, where we actually detail in and out the pros and cons of each customer service department, to see which one will work for you. want to give you a few pro tips also before actually, how do you actually get a business line of credit for your single member LLC with EIN only, no personal guarantee? And we want to go back to the origins here. We want to go back to liquidity 101, right? So money coming in, money going out, money coming in, money going out, money coming in, money going out. How much do you need, son, daughter? How much do you need? That's number one. Are you able to repay whatever whatever line of credit you need? Because right now you are a single member LLC, which means you're an independent contractor. You're on your own, right? Something happens to you, you get sick, God forbid, stuff happens. How much you have a reserve? Do you have some cash to actually take care of business if something were to happen to you? Because you are a single member LLC. This is actually the riskiest structure in the LLC hierarchy. So which means you got to really have different layers of reserves here. Okay, you want to review your credit. Whether you want to, I understand you want to apply using EIN only, but applying using EIN only is not going to help you escape the credit check if you don't do it the proper way. So review your credit anyway to make sure there's nothing really like complicated in your files. Okay, and once you do this, well, think about researching and comparing the lenders. Is Bluevine better for you? What about Wells Fargo? What about OnDeck? What about Lendio? Sometimes you got to ask yourself, at this point in my life, at this point in my single member LLC's life, do I want to go with the loan marketplace? Do I want to go with a direct lender? Do I want to go with an online lender? Because those actually, when you go with Wells Fargo, you are actually embracing a set of procedures that is totally different from the one you will get if you go with Bluevine. Okay, so those are really important. I want you to really be clear about that. And so you want to research and compare lenders. You want to gather your paperwork, because once you have, it's about time you apply that. Once you actually do your research, you can't just dwell in analysis paralysis and not really make a decision here. So you want to go back and really, think about. You want to gather the required paperwork, and then you want to submit the line of credit application. Okay, and that's it. Once you do this, you're good to go. So those are things I really want you to pay attention to, and make sure that you are on the right side of things, and make sure that you actually have thought about all the important elements. This is really, really important. So now we are at the decision phase here. Bluevine versus Wells Fargo versus OnDeck versus Lendio. Obviously, we are speaking about single member LLC, business line of credit, EIN only, no personal guarantee. If you are listening to me right now, you are looking to decide which one should you go for. It depends. Okay, I want you to really write down on a piece of paper. There are a few things you need to pay attention to before deciding whether or not Bluevine is better than Wells Fargo, than OnDeck, than Lendio. Okay, so think about the eligibility requirements. I want you to really see which one you are more likely to qualify for. Think about the line of credit amount. How much they are willing to grant you. Are you looking for more? Are you looking for less? For example, Wells Fargo, they're not going above $100,000. Bluevine is going to $250,000. Are you looking for $250,000? Are you looking for 150, 200? What are you looking for? Okay, what about the funding speed? How quickly do you need the cash? Because it's all about, is it a matter of death and life or what? I mean, do you need to pay a bill by this Friday or this Saturday or this Sunday, whatever? So those are really important. What are the repayment terms? This is also important. I mean, some lenders like OnDeck, for example, they want you to pay weekly or daily. Are you comfortable with that? Whereas Wells Fargo is comfortable actually having you pay on a monthly basis. So those are really things you have to think about and make sure that you are comfortable with. Okay. What about the fees? Okay. And so when we analyze a business line of credit for a single member LLC, we always pay attention to the loan cost. We pay attention to the loan details. We pay attention to the customer experience that you will have. We pay attention to your eligibility and accessibility. and we pay attention to the application process. So those are important criteria that determine our decision as to who is better than others, okay? And this is the kind of calculus I want you to go through also, so you're clear about the best business line of credit for your single member LLC. Because the bottom line, remember, again, if you're a single member LLC, you are on your own. Something happens to you. You have to be able to pay to continue making the payments anyway that you have actually agreed on. So here is the winner. After comparing and contrasting those 4 players, Bluevine, Wells Fargo, OnDeck, and Lendio, we believe the best is Lendio. Lendio is really fantastic as for a single member LLC, business line of credit, EIN only, no personal guarantee. So Lendio is great as a comparison website. Okay, we have rated them 9.8 over 10, Bluevine 9.5 over 10, Wells Fargo 9.1 over 10, and OnDeck 8.8 over 10. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. I'll see you next time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.